Maybe now and then they come around. Little do I know about you now. Though I'm pretty sure that you're the one. Go around the night and have some fun. Something about the way you make me feel. Everything about you can be real. I'll do anything to have you here, my dear. Winter night, the whole city's covered white. Life is boring, reassuring. The day I met you, there's nothing I want more than to be right there by your side. In the moonlight, crystal skylines, cross my heart, I'll be there till the end. Right there with you, even though you'll never notice me. 'Cause I'm just a space girl, crossing worlds and the galaxies, just to see you. I'll risk my life knowing that maybe I won't reach your heart, but I can't resist. Every now and then I come around. Little do I know about you now. Though I'm pretty sure that you're the one. Go around the night and have some fun. Something about the way you make me feel. Everything about you can be real. I'll do anything to have you here, but I'm pretty sure we'll never be. The fact is clear, we're worlds apart. I don't want this, please. Ugh, damn it. Just a space girl, crossing worlds and the galaxies, just to see you. I'll risk my life knowing that maybe I won't reach your heart, but I can't resist. Every now and then they come around. Little do I know about you now. Though I'm pretty sure that you're the one. Go around the night and have some fun. Something about the way you make me feel. Everything about you can be real. I'll do anything to make you mine, but this is goodbye. One more time. Ready? Maybe now and then they come around. I'm pretty sure that you're the one. Something about the way you make me feel. I'll do anything to have you here, my dear.
Welcome back, Overwatch fans, to another amazing night.
We have a fantastic match tonight, no question about it.
Oh my god! Oh my god, yes!
But the barrage! Make sure they can't even follow up afterwards.
And Watch us down 2 in this fight thus far. Make that 3, make that 4 right now here. Dynamic team gets a 4-man tire.
Those who find the picks will save the fights, and they don't really need to save what they've already won.
100 and 3!
Experience Tranquility.
Hello and welcome back to Tranquility X Valorant. Of course, I'm Katz here with Light Rose, and we've got another night of games for you guys on this lovely Thursday. So close to the weekend. I'm super excited for these games, though. How about you?
I'm really excited as well. We've got two of these teams that hopefully will not end in a 2-0 because unfortunately it just seems that every single game we've had has just ended in a 2-0 fashion. We don't want that. We want a very, very close matchup between Valorant. You got to make sure that you exclude the N there because it is Valorant versus Battalion.
Yeah, definitely. And with a name like Valorant, I hope we see Pearl. I just hope we see Pearl. That map is so weird. It's got so many little rat spots, but we'll be heading into map bans here momentarily. You mentioned we haven't had anything past a 2-0 recently, and last thing we saw was Tries Kitties, or Tries something along those lines. I can't remember the second name, but that one, so close. It was a double or triple overtime that ended up going the other way. So unfortunately haven't been able to force that game through just yet, but we are in the bans. Battalion going to take a breeze off the table right away. But hey, Pearl's still available. I'm really betting on it.
Yeah, we're at like the bare minimum right now. Everybody's just got to get rid of those maps that nobody likes, which funny enough has been a map every single time since the game has released. Haven is actually going to be gone next. So like you said, there is still a possibility that Pearl will be played. Battalion is going to have that next map ban, but without Haven, we're not going to have that triple site. We're not going to see some crazy shenanigans happen.
Yeah, the triple site is always a really interesting thing to play, whether you're playing it competitive or just playing it ranked. It will be, of course, the first pick on Bind, so a great map there for Battalion. Maybe they're pretty comfortable on it, but speaking of them, they are currently 2-0. Unfortunately for Valorant, 1-1, so looking to try and tie it up, force them to be tied in the standings. We will be going to our second pick here just shortly.
Waiting for Valorant to decide where they want to go. We still have maps like, I mean, we could still see Fraction. That is still a possibility, but our chances are going to lower. Ascent is going to be the second map. It's not really that much of a surprise. Ascent, it feels like that's everybody's universally liked map. It's where everybody feels the most comfortable on, and I think it is the best map.
Yeah, it certainly has really consistent lanes, and that's one thing I feel like people like a lot about it. You have mid, you have B, you have A, and you have a couple little niches. You have the short cat to walk. If you ever played a lot of CS, it's kind of similar to Dust. I don't want to say that exactly, but it's got those particular lanes a lot of people can be really familiar with. So that's going to be the second pick. Fracture is taken away by Battalion. Valorant has the opportunity to go Pearl. I don't think we've seen it yet. So I'd be really excited to see it, but it is going to be Pearl banned away. We're not going to get it today. It's going to be Icebox, the decider.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. We could have Pearl as the decider, but we need to go there first. We need to make sure that this is not a 2-0, as Icebox is where we're going to be heading. Technically, you could say that that is Valorant's map pick because it was either that or Pearl, but because Pearl is so new, you would expect it to kind of be put to the side. You don't want to take your opponent on a map that possibly they know better than you and you haven't even tried once.
Yeah, and I think it just got added to the competitive rotation just a couple days ago. I'm not sure exactly when, but it certainly has not been in there for long, and really the only way you've been able to play it is if you straight up queue for it. I don't even believe it was an unrated at the time either, so it's been a little bit of a mess for people to learn it. I hopped into a ranked game a couple days ago, and I got Pearl, and just, well, now what do I do?
Where is everything? Where is the site?
Yeah, it's fun to run around with a Bucky and explore at that point, but we're really excited about that as we are going to be headed over to our character selection pretty soon. We'll see what these teams are going to decide to pick up. Have to get that to you shortly.
Yeah, I mean, we did have a couple of buffs go through the recent patch. There was some KO changes. Phoenix got the buffs that he really needed. We don't know yet if it's going to do too much because, you know, he's one of the little bit of a face of Valorant, yet he's had the lowest pick rate so far out of every single agent. So maybe some of those changes, he's able to bring up his gun quicker. If you kind of stop bending that wall a little bit, he's able to bring up flashbang as well. So I don't think that we're going to see as much Phoenix because there are just other agents that do things better than Phoenix, honestly.
Most definitely. You can easily replace it with things such as a Sky if you're looking for things along that flash line, or gathering information, of course, with the dog there as well. And it's pretty common we actually see these teams pick a Sky. They're really experienced on it, and it's just such a great information gathering tool. If you're able to send it out to a site, pop it, you can figure out if there's people there, and of course you still have the opportunity to go for that pop flash and try and make those fancy plays. But yeah, the Phoenix got a little love, but I just don't think he got enough.
And the KO changes that I'm mentioning, I think the one big thing is that his grenade technically can go through walls now. So if you put it in the right spot, you can really force somebody out of a scenario that otherwise you might have had to trip it around the doorway, and that might have tipped them off. But right now you can just, oh, Cats is gone. Cats is a black screen. Well, right there. Okay, well, apparently Cats is having some issues. We're having some tech issues. So right now we are going to toss it to a break, make sure that we've got everything sorted out. And when we come back, we should be heading straight into that game. We'll see you then.
welcome back, of course, to Tranquility X Valorant. We're going to be getting these games going just momentarily, of course, between Battalion and Valorant, excuse me. 2-0 on Battalion. Valorant currently 1-1. And we got to see how these games are going to turn out. Valorant, of course, being behind that game. I'm really interested to see how they play, if it's any different from their previous matches. Battalion, I'm kind of expecting them to try and stay on the same beaten path.
Yeah, and with our first map being Bind, we're going to see whether any of these teams are going to get a really big leap on their first side, whether that is defense, whether that is offense. You know, somebody's got to come out really with a super big swing, and we should be coming up with that the agent selection screen.
Yeah, we'll have that here just momentarily. I think we're loaded in. There it is. And a couple picks already coming through. We do like to see picks such as that Sky, such as that Chamber. A lot of lockdown ability there for Valorant. Of course, they actually are starting out on the attacking side here as well. But a couple initiators to the name with the raids as well.
Yeah, Chamber isn't too much of a surprise. Bind just has these really long angles that, sometimes you just want to lock it down with an op. Pistol rounds, of course, is Chamber's forte. You get a free sheriff in your hands. Just make sure you do not waste your bullets, because if you do, suddenly you don't have a sheriff anymore. But already we are seeing Valorant. They are locking in their lineup. They have a lot of firepower behind them, but of course with that Sky, with the Omen, with that Sage, they also have the ability just to deter Battalion. Starting on the attack, though, I think that's not going to have as much of an impact as it will on the defensive side.
Yeah, and going up against a team as strong as Battalion, as we've seen them so far, you kind of want to get the momentum going your way right away, just as soon as you can. You're going to be able to lock it down pretty heavily on defense, but I don't see too much that shows me your attack can go super hyper aggressive. Of course, you still have the opportunity for that raise, especially with that ultimate. Pretty much is a free kill, and being able to use those satchel blasts as well to get onto site to try and get people away and force different angles than what a defender might expect there from Battalion is really great. But of course, Battalion, pretty generic comp to himself. I do like the Viper pick. It's not something I feel like I see that much anymore, but you still have such an incredibly strong wall, and whenever she has access to that ultimate, you're able to pretty much just lock down an entire site.
Yeah, Viper's very, very great agent when in the right hands. I think Bind used to be a very, very powerful operator. You'd always be able to just kind of spurt those walls between the sites, but she's seen a dip in play rate as we've seen a lot more agents come into play, especially with Sky, with Chamber. Killjoy as well is another agent that enjoys an increase of play rate, as we can see Dink on Battalion is bringing her to the table.
Yeah, of course, we saw the pistols there. Nothing really too aggressive. I think we only saw one ghost aside, a couple light armors, and of course, utility across the board. The rendezvous is already getting set up for Chamber. He is going to be looking for that entry frag. But finally, we are into game number one, Battalion and Valorant. Of course, Valorant starting out on that attacking side and looking up for something quick on Hookah. This is Viper walled off, so she will be able to throw it up, try and slow down the attack.
PDK just kind of hucking a nade in there, hoping to get something, and Laser takes some damage, so definitely a good grenade, but just the restraint, hiding behind this Viper wall, trying to get some sort of surprise, but some sort of flank from Greninja could provide an alternate angle that could really make this Battalion defense a lot less effective.
Yeah, and all 5 members on the site. Dink is just stuck back here, but it doesn't matter. Void picks up 3 kills with the classic. My goodness, that's the pistol start you wanted. Laser trading back and forth with Green Ninja. Neither of them able to get the kill, but with just 2 members remaining versus 4, they're able to play together. You got Spike down there as well, and it is looking all but done for this pistol. Battalion are looking to take it. Well, I guess I can't say that just yet. Moment's able to find a nice quick headshot there on the Laser. Doesn't have the spike, but gonna opt to try and rotate way back over maybe towards Hookah. You don't really want to save a ghost, especially if you're Chamber at this point. But looking to potentially catch someone off guard. Killjoy does have a turret there as well, so they'll know Moment is there.
Yeah, and with how much damage that turret does compared to just the amount of HP that Moment has, they have to be very careful, but they take out Killjoy and are left with 4 HP. Not enough to do any more damage, as you can see. One shot from the Classic will be able to take them out, but considering how that started out, Moment will take those few couple shots because Void just instantly put an end to me, it looked like a very good push considering the utility. The Sage Wall from Polar, just kind of locking who I believe was Soul in that corner, that was a really great move.
Yeah, completely able to lock him down, but at the end of the day, it just didn't work out due to the fact that Void said, oh, 3 heads, 3 shots? Yeah, I'll take those kills. And they are more than happy about that. And a little bit of a failed execution. You lost a gun or 2, but you're looking here on the bonus round. If you're VALORANT, you're just trying to take some kills out of the hands, or take some guns out of the hands of Battalion right here. They are going to try and do it onto A site. So peeking, a couple smokes have gone up, and I believe it's going to be the KO knife to spot him out. Or actually, it's going to be the grenade, rather, to slow him down. So, oh, we don't see anything from that KO buff just yet.
And the rotate is on view. Moment still kind of peeking this angle, hoping that somebody will peek them. But Laser is going to be able to take one with them as they are sent to the grave by PDK. And now a Spectre is going to be given to VALORANT. So I think that is a trade that they are more than willing to take because it gives them more firepower in the hands of PDK. The Raze, while Moment is still locking down this angle with that just kind of one-shot headshot style weapon, and now VALORANT are really going to start to rush onto the site.
Yep, on to side Void with the spray, going to take down Green Ninja, but the spike is going to go down. Soul is may be able to pick up a kill on the backside of the Moment as well. But Gaff going to completely catch Soul out. He is traded back, but it's the final PDK with the Spectre. Is it going to matter? No, it is not. Gargan Fan takes him down, and it's a 2-0 start here for Battalion, but a lot of damage done to that economy at the end of the day.
It is only round 3, though. If you play your cards right, your economy near this round should be relatively similar. You should be able to buy rifles, buy close to full armor. As we see Battalion, they're still trying to boost themselves up to round 4, only buying Spectres. But so far, they have had VALORANT. They have had VALORANT's number. They've gone to A site, they've gone to B site, and every single time Battalion has been ready for them. And right now, it feels that they are just kind of mechanically out dueling this team.
Yeah, Void actually currently 6-0 as well, so doing fantastic on that Brimstone. Not really a character you expect to end up with a lot of kills, but he's been doing phenomenal, picking up those headshots just back and forth. But to execute on the B, I don't believe the Sky saw anyone with that dog, but it is going to be the Viper wall going up to allow them to grab this ult orb and take a little bit more time on this execute, but no rotations just yet. If PDK or somebody else on the side of VALORANT is able to get a pick, they might be able to execute on this side.
Patience is going to be good in this scenario because considering the last 2 rounds, VALORANT just does not want to go headfirst into these sites. They want to get every single advantage that they can, whether it's physically or mentally, which is happening right now. Just kind of testing whether Battalion is going to rotate or not. And as Sky's flashbang swings on through the air, they will definitely start to rotate on well. But now through the teleporter, they are going to rush on through, and PDK finds one, a great shot on the dink.
PDK takes down one. Laser is going to be the next one to fall, and now it's a 3v5 site retake opportunity. It's going to be a couple of people through hookah. I believe that's Soul in elbow, and Gargan Fan maybe trying to look for a poison over the wall, but they are just walled off, traded 1-for-1, already hard peeking, and Moment is able to make another, goes down for it. The greed for the gun doesn't matter as Gargan goes down as well. And finally, VALORANT able to pick up their first round here after having to force those 4 full rifles.
You want to know how effective that strategy was that VALORANT pulled? It fooled me. I was confused at what happened, Cats. I was like, oh, the execution on the A site, it's happening. And I looked up at the minimap, and suddenly PDK's on B site. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. How did PDK get there? And then everybody starts to rush onto the site, completely taking Battalion and me by surprise. And that's how you know a strategy definitely worked, when you fooled somebody who has clear vision over the entire map.
And that was, they got the site so fast as well right after that teleport, full sprinting to it, and still able to get the kills jumping out of hookah. More than impressive to me. But still looking for the picks. Of course, it's Moment going to be popping this tour de force, looking for that opening pick here onto A side as more smokes go out. Soul Sanity playing that pretty slow in this corner, and we've seen him play really slow in that corner consistently. It's going to be 2 pushing in. Gargle fan walks out of U-Haul, knows he needs to take it slow. Jinx able to get a kill on the Polar all the way on B side.
Spike down
Might
A.
be an over rotation, but Spike is down as PDK is able to pick up another teleport from PDK. I believe he's got the Spike in his hands. Yes, he does. Looking to come out of hookah. You've got Dink just sitting in this corner, waiting for that perfect timing. He sees him. He knows this Spike is going down, but he just doesn't have the angle. Finally able to find it. Pops up the headshot. And Spike once again down on B. And it's such a hard situation to find. Going to force in the hands. That might have been a no-scope there from Moment. Takes down Gargan. But still, 19 seconds left on the clock, and you're in a really tough situation trying to retake this site.
Dink scatters were so good in that round, completely putting PDK in the blender, the 1-2 punch, leading straight into the headshot. And that one round from Valorant will do absolutely nothing, as now Battalions is going to continue on forward, and that is going to put a little bit of a dent into Valorant's UI, or not their UI, excuse me, their economy, because you can see now they're relegated to just buying 1 SMG pistols, while Battalion is flying high, buying as many rifles as they need, and only Garligan is going to be buying that auto shotty, which still in the right hands can be very strong.
Yeah, and it does look like he actually pops this Viper ult here as well, so it's really a perfect opportunity to use that auto shotty, but a lot of people are just not going to force into the Viper ult. They're going to say, screw it, we are just going to the other site, and we are simply not interested. But it's not Valorant this time around. They're pushing on this side for the K, just about getting Moment 1 HP, and yeah, it's 2 quick people to fall for Valorant.
And they need to make sure that they have some way out of this 3v5. And it just doesn't seem like they do. Greninja in hookah is just too scared to peek it. They just don't have the numbers compared to Polar, who is by long. Now, the Omen is going to join Sky, and they're going to slowly back out of hookah. You can see they're debating on whether or not they want to go for a rotate, or whether or not they just kind of want to full send it here. They're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They only have 30 seconds left to decide what they want to do. And honestly, there aren't really any good options here.
Yeah, and you're really just dealing with straight classics right now as Polar gets caught out. No real strong guns, so if you can get a pick or two, do a little bit of extra damage to the economy, it's really great. You're not expecting to win the round at the end of that one, but it is Green Ninja, the only one remaining. Flash is going to go out. Dink is blind, but I don't know if you saw him. Yes, he finally turns around, is able to take out Dink. KJ and Void to clean up, and it's a 4-1 lead for Battalion.
If you're completely still, maybe they won't notice you. That strategy usually doesn't work. It usually doesn't work, but hey, when you're in that situation, I think that might be your best option. It actually almost works there for Dink. So luckily Greninja found that. Otherwise, that would have been a quirky little moment.
That's that's definitely one way to put it. It was such a weird spot as well, but he knew he just wanted to go straight to the corner and just prayed he didn't check that. Ends up checking at the end of the day, but it's an easy trade for his teammates. And now into round number 6. There's already a couple members, just about 4 members committing onto this B site. Nobody's pushed up that far yet. A couple bullets traded back and forth, but I do believe Ray is lurking there in A showers, trying to find a pick on the backside, but it's been a very minimal amount of over aggression from Battalion.
And now that Omen is gone, there aren't really going to be any more smokes that are going to be able to be utilized. PDK in the showers has been a great entry for this team. Soul's going to have to back off. They're going to be located by Sky's ultimate. PDK is going to be suppressed, but the only thing that's really going to deter them is going to be some explosives by the enemy Raze. And now that Soul is gone, we're back at a 4v4 between these two teams with 30 seconds left.
Yeah, KJ's just solo holding this B side right now with 3 members of Battalion. And the A side able to get 1, able to get 2, able to get 3, wipe them off the board. And once again, another win for Battalion. It's just such great execution there. You know your KJ is going to be able to hold down B on their own, especially after doing a little bit of damage onto the enemy team. Taking the damage, taking your kills, and saying, okay, we can just rotate 3 over to A side. We can probably hold this. We've got great angles. We knew that Omen was down, so no smokes available, and it's going to force VALORANT onto another eco round.
Currently 5-2-1, and now it seems that we're getting into a little bit of a cycle here, Cats. With how many rounds that VALORANT are down, we're halfway to that side swap, so when things will officially reset between these two teams when it comes to economy, and VALORANT needs to get there in good standing. Around 3 more rounds is what I think they can afford, and 8-4 is looking like the best possible scenario at this moment, but that means that VALORANT has to win about half of these remaining rounds, and currently they've only got 1 in their pocket.
Yeah, it's kind of just been a struggle for them executing on the sides. I believe we've only actually seen the spike go down 1 time, and it was pretty promptly turned around and defused. But here it is, PDK, the rocket fuse, rocket jump all over everybody. Doesn't see the Omen behind him, and PDK gets taken down by Void. Still got a great angle. Dink and Void just holding down this A site. Doesn't have a care in the world. Polar, you're just in a tough spot. Golgan fan knows you're there. Takes him out. Dick Gap trying to trade back, but it's another round win there for Battalion.
I think that this team really knows where to position themselves so that they hide from the enemy in the best possible scenario. We are going to be getting a timeout from these defenders, so we're going to have a little bit of a break just to kind of ponder, think about what is going wrong with both of these teams, or I guess what is going wrong with currently one of these teams, that is that defending side. The attacking side, they just haven't been able to kind of put the pieces together.
Yeah, and it's been a really just tough time executing. A lot of these players aren't playing default spots that you might expect them to try and wide peek, try and pick up a kill. And quite frankly, they've just been out gun skilled a lot of the times. Quick headshots back and forth from Battalion have been super efficient, and it's just working incredibly well for them. You're still stuck trying to just force pretty much whatever. And every time you force, if you lose the round right after, you're back on eco.
Yeah, that's the thing about kind of going down so hard in this scenario, is because it's just kind of rinse and repeat. You buy guns. If you don't win with those guns, you're stuck back at square one. And then you just try to do the whole thing again, hoping that maybe your opponent will mess up. You'll be able to grab a gun, scrape 1 round by, and then that will start to snowball into more round wins. It just hasn't happened for Battalion, which, yes, the teams up top were swapped. The logos are still. So Battalion now has a rat logo, and VALORANT is now a revolutionary.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But still, trying to pick up that second round, it's super important. They're going to hard force U-Haul here, I think. It is the judge for PDK, so if you can get someone in that close range scenario, fantastic. Gap going to take a little damage on the exit as the ultimate comes down, cleans one up. And actually, one traded back there are able to take out Moment on the backside of that. Still is forced into this 4v3. I believe Spike is down as well. PDK valiantly holding this angle, is not giving it up, not allowing anyone into U-Haul. And realistically, that's what you've got to do when you do have that judge. FE is going to stay back, as it is going to be the rotation there. PDK, yeah, no concern in the world. Might actually end up having himself a flank. I believe there's a Vandal on the ground over there for himself.
30 seconds left.
He was able to go pick it up and potentially look for that flank opportunity.
Battalion, one member down, and now Valorant,
They're gonna
they've
teleport
been
to A.
able to come back. Yeah, PDK, that flank that you mentioned is going to be impactful. It's an equalizer, and with only about 15 seconds left and without 7 to plant that
seconds
spike
left.
down, we are going to see Polar slap that down and get the revive.
Yeah, looking for someone to revive. Finally going to settle on Gap. Now it's going to be the retake opportunity. Laser does hit the dome on PDK as the Killjoy comes out. These frag opportunities. Dink is the next one to go down. The Killjoy is stalling so much time for this spike. Finally, it does drop. And picked up from that. Laser able to get another shot on the Gap through the smoke, baiting them away into the 1v1, but the raise is so low. She might just try and stick this at this point. There's the flash, nowhere else to go. Tries to just shoot at that angle, but is Greninja to pick up the kill. Now 6-2, Battalion fighting it back.
And a good decision just to kind of say, hey, this is a possible angle that might happen. And if the stars aligned, then, hey, who knows? You might have got the craziest flashbang kill of your life. But unfortunately, Battalion for Valorant, actually, Battalion's going to be able to put 2 on the board. As they need to get more now, as we are 4 rounds away from that split, and Battalion still don't have a good amount of rounds to the name, and I don't really think they have much beyond those 2 couple rounds, because both those rounds have been kind of slapped together. They've been extremely close rounds, and Battalion, or excuse me, Valorant, everything's confusing me between the logos and the names now that we've just kind of swapped halfway through the map. All of Valorant's rounds have been so dominant.
Yeah, and that was pretty much one of the closest ones we've seen with the 1v1 at the end of the day, and they are able to pick it up, trying to just slowly close this gap as much as they can. There's that fake teleport. I like that. I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Really?
Gap gonna just come right back onto B site and potentially look for this. It didn't really bait anyone. It actually pulled Viper back to B as well. So the slow push, they definitely hear him at this point as PDK's looking in, alarm bot triggered, and the shot's going to go through as the flash on the PDK is more than
30
successful.
seconds left.
Boyd still going to try to throw these smokes around the corner. Gap just hasn't gone for this features yet. Finally going to pull out that classic. Is it going to be the turnaround? No. Gap is able to take him down, but there's 2 players sitting there. Moment gets the headshot on this as well.
One
Dink,
enemy
no, he's
remaining.
not able to finish off the one and Hookah. And the last one to drop is going to be Moment. Now 7-2 over to Valorant.
Doesn't matter if you are able to flashbang Void, because that's the thing about Valorant, is that they might have somebody on top 13-3, but they've also got Laser, who's got 9 kills. Dink and Garligan have 7. All the members of this team are really holding their own. I just think Void is getting the luckiest, that Void is constantly having Battalion come to them, and they're able to pick up those kills. I think we could see any other member of Valorant on the top of this scoreboard. And I think that's a big reason why Battalion aren't really contending. That a lot of times they just cannot compare with all 5 of these members, concluding Garligan.
Like Garligan, what was that? He actually ran so low to a couple of those classic right clicks, but doesn't go down at the end of the day and still is able to pick up 2. Now you've just got to sit here, wait, able to dodge away from that first flash. I believe Sky might be out of that at this point. Ninja, the quick swing, able to take out one. Another flash goes out. They see Dink here. A couple shots come through, but the Stinger just doesn't have the range. Polar goes down as well, and the last one remaining, Ninja gonna try and get a trade kill, but it isn't there. Valorant pick up their 8th round now. So much momentum for themselves. It is going to allow for this rifle round for Battalion, but Valorant are definitely in the driver's seat.
The only thing that Battalion can do at this point is, I think, survive. Right now, we're looking at a 10-2. That is the direction that we are headed. And only Battalion can steer us from that track. Otherwise, that half is really going to be the true reset. And ending up at a 10-2, 3 rounds away from losing a map, it's not where you want to be as this attacking squad. Yes, Bind is a interesting map when it comes to bias between these two teams, but it's still the small amount of rounds between victory and defeat. Battalion, even when the side swap, I don't think they're going to be able to contend.
Definitely, and it's sort of comes down to the pistol if you can get a lot of momentum coming out of it. If you're able to pick it up for Battalion, you might be able to squeeze 3-4 rounds, just if you're able to play aggressive throughout those first 4, but nonetheless, still 8-2, and PDK has been heavy on this Raze lurk all game long, but potentially looking for someone. He's got a nice angle to try and catch someone off guard here as Greninja arrives to the fight as well. The swarm is there for Battalion. He's going to teleport directly on top of that box, spots out Solo Sanity with the Seekers, and Greninja able to find the first kill here onto Void. That's 2 for himself. The Raze ultimate not going to find anyone. His laser is going to come out of the screen. Now only 2 defenders remaining here for VALORANT. If they want to try and pick up another round, maybe give us an 8-4, they would have so much potential here, but the spike is going to go down, forcing it now still into that 2v4. The judge is there. Go again. You just don't have the range. And he is going to fall gap to finish up the final kill. And Battalion able to pick up a round.
And Battalion should be able to swing this into the next round. The only problem is it's the last round. And VALORANT has multiple members on maximum amount of currency. So good luck trying to make a dent in the economy. And now VALORANT's going to have an operator as well. You are going to be able to put laser on that. They are currently 11-6. They want to chase Void at the top of that scoreboard. But we'll take rounds when we can get them if you're a member of Battalion. And now it is going to be B-site where we are headed for this last round. Round 12 before we see those sides swap. And we're having a little bit of a crouching session between the Omen and the Chamber.
I think they've been doing that all game long. You mentioned the operator. What I really want to look at is the 3 Odins that are in the hands here of VALORANT. I've seen a couple of these players play, and I've seen a little bit of how this league plays, and everybody loves a nice Odin. They can just spray at them all day long, and you expected a little bit more on a map like Ascent with a lot more bangable walls in certain areas, but the Odin, definitely a viable option. Raze still looking for those kills. I think PDK has just been so passive on this backside, hasn't been able to get the kills he wanted, as Soul Sanity is able to send out and suppress the Sage for the time being. I'm not sure if she has the ultimate to try and go for this Roi, but it was PDK to fall. So far on the opposite side of the map. Now, finally looking for this swing, forcing out of Hookah. Gap with the teleport onto site. Polar looking as well. It is going to be the wall to break as Void comes around the corner, but he just doesn't have his gun out, and Gap takes him down.
That is going to be a downside of having that Odin. And the spike is going to go down. Battalion has found luck each time this spike has gone down. And Gap with a great swing evens the odds going into the next split. There's only 2 members of VALORANT left to contend with all 4 members of Battalion. And Gap, that has been their home, peeking down that long hallway. And it's an ace for Gap to end this split. And I don't think they would have had it any other way.
Yeah, and a while ago you mentioned 8-4, and well, it's what we end up with. They can't be too upset about that, especially taking those latter 2 rounds in the half. Now you have to play such a heavy defender side. But we did mention it earlier, you have the likes of this Chamber, of this Sage, if you want to try and play that defender heavy side. But it is going to be Polar, most likely just needs to get some more kills, needs to get some more shots down. Of course, as the Sage, you're more the utility, you're more being able to put up walls and zone off areas, but nonetheless, it's just been a struggle so far for Battalion. Hopefully some momentum they can get going here into the pistol round.
The pistol rounds, I don't think are going to be very indicative of how this half is going to go because some teams are just better when it comes to pistol rounds, but aren't as good as contending with teams when it comes to rifles. So VALORANT are able to take a pistol round. That is going to be a great advantage, but there's still going to be time for Battalion to come back. But right now, Void already putting the spike down. This round could be over before we know it.
Yeah, and that was just so much aggression so early. They just kind of gave him the sight at the end of the day. Greninja does have the frenzy here, going to get the spray, but not before Soul of Sanity trades it right back. Bomb Buddy gonna go out. Maybe something, but he's just so far around this corner. You got 2 players deep into U-Haul. It was the fake defuse. Just 3 players swing right on him. Laser takes him down. Void. Now we're stuck into the 4v2 as they're trying to get on this site, trying to make room. 0 bullets left in the chamber, and it is going to be the round headed over to VALORANT.
And a rough one for Battalion at that. It's hard to stop a bullet train, and that's exactly what VALORANT was in that pistol round. And now I'm expecting that they're going to try to force. We do see those Spectres, and with how close they are to victory, that seems like the best viable option, because when you only need 3, you'll take what you can get, or I believe they need 4, excuse me. So 25% of what you need can be accomplished right now, and it's probably the easiest one you'll have because Battalion, their pistols aren't gonna contend with the SMGs. They just aren't as adept when it comes to pistols.
Yeah, and especially when you have pretty much everybody on that classic. It's so hard unless you're able to find those really weird angles and those one-shot right clicks, maybe pick up a Spectre and try and trade right back, but nothing too much we expect. As smokes do go out onto the B site here from the Brimstone, and once again, it's full control of the site here for VALORANT. It was a little sneaky PDK able to find one, but it's already 3 members falling for Battalion. Spike on the way down, the flash from Soul Sanity is going to push right through the smoke, and Garligan takes a down gap. Polar, the last one remaining, and this poor Sage with the classic coming out of hookah. It's just such a tough spot.
Polar just seems like a small, innocent child walking into the wolf's den at this point. VALORANT knows exactly where Sage is. Don't play with your food.
Oh,
no,
they're gonna knife him.
no.
Oh, I thought he was going to give him the knife. Garligan stares over the way at Dink. I guarantee he's screaming at him right now, just why didn't you give me that knife? But nonetheless, it's the 2 rounds, and man, poor Polar. Poor Polar.
Yeesh. Yeah, 2 and 11 as well. That was bullying. We don't condone bullying here at Tranquility. That's all I'm saying with that. Even though it's a little funny in the moment with Garligan not actually completing the knife. It was the Spect that finished the job, so we'll take that. But Moment dealing a lot of damage to Void, but neither one gonna confirm the kill. So it's just some damage at most.
Yeah, it is kind of a better trade at the end of the day for Battalion, just because you do have that Sage who's going to be able to offer those heals. But fortunately, it is a Brimstone, 30 HP, not really going to be able to act as that entry fragger, and we've seen how well he's done on that entry fragging today, but slow committing onto this A site, kind of waiting, kind of seeing if Battalion is just going to go aggressive on the defense and try and maybe look for one of those flank opportunities early. But nothing yet.
I think that's definitely an option. The lack of kills is honestly surprising, but I think it's just because Battalion are being very restrained in how they want to approach fighting against VALORANT. And VALORANT want to get an opening kill before they enter the site. So Battalion seems like they're at the advantage currently, but when stuff actually starts to go down, VALORANT is always going to have an advantage mechanically, and I think that is going to be the difference between victory and loss, is that VALORANT just honestly shoot back better.
Shoot back better. And As all players are able to rotate onto the site. PDK slowly making his way there, but it is 1-2 going down for a moment. Tries to get the teleport out, but not there in time. Gap able to get the trade kill as well. So now Valorant, with only 2 people to try and defend this spike that has been planted, are going to be put into a tough situation. They do know Laser's there, as the Skyhawk was able to find him. PDK with a nice swing there onto Dink, and it is 2 more members going down. Polar able to get to the fuse, and Battalion pick up another round, now forcing it 10-5.
And we are seeing signs of life from this Battalion crew. There are 5 rounds to go before we're truly around equal. I think Battalion has like 3 rounds to go before they reach that, oh, this comeback is actually possible. Valorant getting those 2 rounds in the earlier part of this half, it makes it so much harder for Battalion to come back, because that was close to the best option that Battalion had, and just kind of closing that gap. All Valorant needs is a couple lucky rounds to fall their way. And most of these rounds, there's been some mistakes by Battalion, and enough for Valorant to really take advantage of them.
Yeah, and one of the main things about last round as well is you're really still working with those SMGs. Now you're forcing full rifle. And now you're able to get really aggressive onto, of course, these comfortable weapons like the Vandal, like the Phantom, and playing your slow game B once again. You wait for Brim to throw down the smokes, and we've seen it multiple times before, but Battalion kind of just gives up sight. They don't do too much trading before the spike goes down, and we'll have to see what they opt for. Hookah currently smoked off, and Gap is just holding those angles, waiting for someone. I think he might be sending out another smoke as well to try and deter this push, but I think it might just happen anyways. Gap able to find 1 kill onto Laser, and that might have been straight through the smoke. DK in a nice spot as well here. 3 members out as the KJ turret as well gets destroyed, as it is going to be Omen incredibly low on the backside of this one. Waiting for that Sage here, but Polar, you're in a pretty interesting spot.
There could be a potential rotate through portals if Valorant wants to, but they know that somebody is in there, and Polar can kind of push the envelope. But why would they when there's 10 seconds left? Valorant is going to have to get on that site, and there might not even be time for them to work their magic, as the spike carrier has been killed, only Void left alive. And Battalion, they're starting to string together a couple more here, Cats.
Yeah, and Battalion has to be really happy about this. They're able to string together a couple more. You're really not going to be able to see the full force here for Valorant, and looks like they might just be going for a full save nonetheless. They're still working with these full rifled squad of Valorant. Even if you do drop a round, you're not too uncomfortable, but you would love to get a pretty strong win streak going.
Win streak is the best viable option, or the only option that Battalion has if they want to at least get a 2-1, as Valorant is looking a little scary. I don't know how they're going to contend when it comes to these other maps, but if Battalion's able to get this first map, that it takes a lot of pressure off of them. But now they're going to have to do another post plant. Greninja takes out the spike planter, and massive play for the rest of the round.
Yeah, and already 2 members down here for Valorant. They're almost able to get that plant, and it was just so close. But just that random spray through the smoke, able to find the headshot. Only one remaining now is Laser. He falls as well, and Battalion pick up another round, inch themselves closer and closer to the 10 rounds that Valorant has, but it has been a struggle to get here. Now the rifles are available for the side of Valorant, and well, we still need to see them execute onto a side. They've been struggling with it.
Ever since Battalion has actually been able to fight back, they've been able to really fight back. They haven't honestly let Valorant's extreme tempo when it comes to actually rushing onto the site deter them at all. We are going to see a Sky Flash going forward. Moment has an amazing angle up top. It honestly looks like a free kill, because I don't think anybody on Valorant's going to expect this, especially Dink. You know, nobody looks up. That is something that you need to take advantage of in your games.
Yeah, definitely. And Polar is sitting here, but everybody has been just slowly walking through showers, so I don't actually think Polar has gone for this wall just yet. Void setting up the smokes now. And I hope Polar is able to drop this wall as soon as he sees the execute is there. And yeah, definitely going to come through from Polar. Going to slow down that push out of showers. And there's another almost a flick from Moment, but he gets traded 1-for-1 now. Polar throws out the slow orb as some more smokes come through onto the side of VALORANT. They are trying to push, but this shower wall has just been so effective right now. Been able to slow down this push so much, stall so much time, and Polar gets the kill into Void just through the ultimate. Now it's forced into the 2v4 scenario. They are able to get the spike down, so they've got a little bit of time to work with, but they just know exactly where they are. First kill goes down. It's going to be Gab. Now into the 2v3. You got Green Ninja trying to push through Hall. Quick top flash, looking for the swing. Able to get both with the help of PDK. And Battalion looking more and more comfortable on attack by the second.
It could be a case of just being bind. VALORANT, if they're not able to put up, I think, a round in the next 3, Battalion are absolutely going to win this map, because it's just going to indicate that once they're out of that pistol phase, they cannot put together a coherent enough attack to break the defenses, the ironclad defenses that Battalion has, because they're just not going to have the economy as well. You see in front of you that this team isn't exactly sure what they want. They have a couple actual rifles, a couple SMGs, and if the wrong people are taken out on VALORANT, if Battalion unconsciously gets these exact members, then we could just see an absolute crumbling of these attacks.
It's sort of with the Guardian here for Galgan just has to find that headshot, and I think Gap has realized that, said, I'm just not peeking that anymore. There's no reason for me to, especially when you got 4 people down B long here. Boombot goes out, as well as that KO by Tape knows there is a person in that corner. They still have to be concerned about Hookahs. They actually haven't seen all these members, but it is the push out onto site, bringing it going all the way through the smoke. Excuse me, that's Gap going all the way through the smoke. And now Spike down once again. If you are VALORANT, this is the round to win. It's the Viper ultimate going to be directly on top of that Spike. They spot out one. Solar Sanity is going to back off into this Spike. And it's the side of Battalion just full spraying right here, able to send out a shot. Polar the first one to drop. PDK able to trade back, and it's kills galore across the board. But into the 4v2 now. Chamber and Ray's the only 2 remaining, and Chamber taken down. VALORANT finally able to pick up a round after a little bit of a drought, but looking comfortable once again.
And at a known more opportune time than that one right there. I guess the half buys were effective enough to win them that round. I think the most effective one probably was that Viper ult, because Viper ult can be, if not the strongest ultimate, in the right scenario, because you're able to cover an entire site post plan. Enemies are highlighted to you. They take damage while in it. It's just everything good all bundled up in a little box. So VALORANT, you're not going to have that option for potentially a couple more rounds. And if things go wrong, the entire rest of the map. So you're going to have to use something else to get you some round wins.
Yeah, and you do have Galgan fan on the operator here as well. So a pretty big investment into this round. They want to try and send themselves to map point here. And there's the peak, but not able to get the crosshairs on Omen in time. And now that they know they have this operator, there's no reason to try and re-peak that. Still playing slow, though, through A. No over-rotations just yet, as we fall just under a minute left in this round.
Angles not being peaked. Gap doing the smart person thing and not peeking Garligan, who has that one-shot weapon. But eventually, VALORANT has to hit the go button, and that operator has to be opened up to the rest of the site, because Gap, if they play their cards right, just cannot peek that angle. They don't have to peek that angle because of everybody else that is on the site. And VALORANT have to choose this site. Unless they go through the portals, which opens up another can of worms, it's going to be this ultimate right here from the Killjoy, and maybe a couple weapons that really change the outcome.
Yeah, and here we go. 15 seconds to execute. The first kill is onto PDK, so Battalion down a member, and there comes the spike plant. They're able to get it down just in the nick of time. That gap on the flank, you got to be super careful of him, but it doesn't matter. Garlic again, once again, able to find it on the operator. Moment goes down here as well, and it's going to be Polar left in the 1v4. He's got the Phantom. Molly comes out just completely zoning off that elbow push, and it's such a tough spot. Decides to actually run through it here, maybe to try and find that juke, find that fake, but so much noise has been made, and it's Laser just holding down the angle. VALORANT able to send themselves to that point.
And the difficult part about this now is that Battalion, they've scraped just enough to get weapons together. The good thing is, though, there's good things and bad things here. We'll start with the good first. The good news is Battalion should have good weapons for the rest of the match. The bad news is this map might not go much longer than one more round, because that is all VALORANT needs. And they also have an operator in the hands of two people, Garligan and PDK.
Yeah, and they're just holding down. B-Long is being held down. The Moment gets two in showers with a hard push. That's kind of that unexpected thing you needed to happen. Gap cleans up another as well. You really just don't want PDK to fall right now with that operator. But now only two members remaining of Raze with so little HP, just 36 remaining. And they might opt to save. You are sitting on a lot of credits, a decent amount to hold on to, or if you do want to try and execute on a different site, but it would be such a hard angle to take. Well, again, goes for the shot through the smoke, not able to connect as the Sage Wall comes through to slow down the attack even more. And it is just such a hard situation if you're VALORANT to try and finish this round off. Polar just aiming right up at that thing if anybody tries to get on top of it. And it's looking like this call might just be to save.
At this point, yeah, saving is the best option because of how expensive and how powerful that weapon is in Garligan's hands. You need to save it. And granted, Battalion is also still going to keep that operator. You take what you can get at this point. The one Sky being down, that isn't going to mean much because everybody else at Battalion is just simply going to be able to buy them. They have the currency to completely invalidate these purchases, but now they have 3 more rounds to win. Battalion has 3 more to go before we enter overtime, and it's 3 chances to make one mistake that VALORANT can exploit.
Yeah, and you got to be pretty comfortable saving that operator there as well. You actually would have had the credits to buy another, but way more happy saving it nonetheless. At the end of the day, it's going to come down, like you mentioned, those mistakes. It's just one mistake you cannot make. It'll cost you this round. This comeback you've been working so hard for these last few rounds, these last 10 minutes or so on the attacker's side. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to who really picks up this injury frag. You have 4 people going down B-Long here. It is going to be the Sky Dog to spot him out, but I believe PDK, the one with the operator, is on the other side of the map. He is able to get there in time and start holding down some angles. Soul of Sanity now has access to the KO. We overpowered and be able to try and charge it in there. Garligan gets the pick on the PDK, so it's no operator there available for Battalion. The shots are out. Laser goes down, but he's traded 1 for 1 at the end of the day. Now into this 4v2 with the KO revive coming in. It could write it all for Battalion as the spike's going down.
It's going to be up to the Sage and the Chamber. They are on a good amount of HP, and the headshot onto Garligan opens up a whole new line of sight for these 2 members. Laser on a lower amount of HP that Moment could exploit if they find the angle. But now as they bring some shots, it's going to be a lot harder to hide their presence. It's now a 2v2, and Soul of Sanity gets 1. They don't get the second, and we're back at a 1v1. And look at that. Void has the ultimate that they're able to use, and now Moment is going to take some damage, but not enough to really end this round.
Yeah, but this spike is ticking down, though. There's so little time. The Molly's there as well, and that is just going to be all she wrote. I believe it's going to be so hard to do anything else. And Void says, I'll finish it off myself. More than glad. 13-9 Valorant will take map number 1.
And probably a lot closer than they would have wanted, considering where we were at halftime, 8-4 or 10-4. If you want to consider a couple rounds after that, Battalion started going on a tear, but just wasn't enough to stop that rolling boulder that was Valorant in that first half. So the second map of Ascent, which technically I believe might have been Valorant's pick if we're seeing if the side swapped. There's a lot that happened because technically like the teams swapped. We had the logos wrong, but whose ever map pick it was, Battalion needs to come out strong on that one.
Yeah, most definitely. But with that, we are going to be headed to a break. When we're back, it's going to be map 2 on Ascent, so don't go anywhere. welcome back to Tranquility X Valorant. Of course, I'm Kaz here with Light Rose. We're into week 2, and we have Battalion Up versus Valorant. And Valorant putting up a really good fight there in map 1.
Yeah, and I think if they start similar on Ascent, it could be all over from the beginning. It is just about that attack. If they can get things going on the attacking side, then they've got that story all wrapped up nice and tight with a bow on top, because that was the only thing that really they struggled with on that first map. And on the other side, Battalion, they were able to repel some of those attacks, but they struggled with their attacks as well. And on Ascent, it's going to be a little bit more equal between these two teams. And I think that might mean that we're not going to see as one-sided of a half.
Yeah, I definitely expecting a bit of a closer half at the end of the day. But we'll have to go into this character select here just shortly and see what they're going to pick. We saw some consistency out of that Brimstone, doing fantastic, really using it, that smokes to pretty much all of its effective ability, and especially on attack. While they struggled a little bit, those smokes were really what allowed them to get onto the site, get that spike down, and whether play for picks in that post-plant scenario or just pretty much push in, win the round, do whatever they needed to do. But it's going to be really interesting to watch the defensive side of things as well.
Yeah, and deciding who's going to start on attack, who's going to start on that defense, and how these operators are going to match up with each other. I am expecting a Killjoy. I don't know if we're going to see a Viper, because how these sites are kind of oriented aren't as helpful with a Viper, because there's a lot of areas that you're able to gain some height. You're able to just enter her ultimate with a lot of sneakiness. Basically, she's not going to be as powerful as she was on Bind. I know that, and that's why I'm not expecting her to be here.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end of the day, the question is, what do you swap out for? You still have that Brimstone option. You could still have, you had the Omen in the last game that was able to pretty effectively use the smokes. But the one thing you really like the Brimstone for is just the opportunity to throw him down from such a long range. Omen does have that possibility, but he's got to be in kind of a weird spot or be in a certain situation that just allows for that. But on Ascent, it is pretty close range. You do have a couple really long open abilities, especially as mid. So maybe something along the lines as a chamber to try and defend mid or push down it. You expect a lot of mid control. And if you're able to execute with mid control, you can pretty much go anywhere. You're able to find picks, you're able to find flanks, and especially trying to get people cut off guard by kind of just weird angles on attack.
And it's funny, for Chamber being, like, I believe he's a Sentinel, he doesn't feel like he's kind of oriented like that. We go back to the, abilities don't kill people, guns do. No, it's the same. This ability is a gun. So you're might put the Chamber in the hands of a duelist in some certain scenarios, because he's a little bit like what Jet was before her dash got changed, in that you can shoot, go right back out, no free of charge if you miss some of your shots. You've also got that free sheriff as well. So there's a lot of good things that come with Chamber, but you need to hit your shots. And that's one thing that Chamber has that other agents do.
Yeah, definitely have to hit your shots at the end of the day. And what? Everybody's got to hit their shots at least once or twice throughout the game. And expecting a lot of aggression from Valorant. They want to close this out in 2. They would love to do it. We still haven't seen it match 3 so far. Pretty much, even out of non-streamed games, we have not seen a match 3. So Valorant, are they going to be able to keep it going, or could we do a little caster cursing on them? Could we send us to a match number 3?
Yeah, I think it's possible that we are going to have that happen, because I know that Battalion is definitely a very, very good team between these two teams. And currently, I just letting you know, I think we're actually in the game, but we don't see anything on our screens.
Oh.
So
we could potentially be, but yeah, for the time being, we
have gone so far that if you have the stream pulled up, we're in the game right now, but we don't see anything on our screen. So if you're like, hey, why are these casters just kind of talking about random stuff? That's why.
That would definitely be a reason or two. But oh, there we are. Well, we missed a round. And it is going to be VALORANT picking up the first one on the attack, and they're already pushing out onto B side. 3 frags for their name here in the bonus, and full planting. It's Moment and KO remaining. Gonna try and send out that rendezvous. He's got the opportunity. Quick headshot. 4 bullets remaining in that mini sheriff. Rendezvous down, but he is just blinded. Nowhere to go. Garligan able to finish him off. Almost a flawless round. 1 gun taken away by Battalion.
Now, with such a strong start between these two teams, it might be looking at a very similar lineup, but I want to let you know, we're still in that pistol phase. It's something that VALORANT was very, very good at on both halves when it came to Bind, so I'm expecting that they would do the exact same thing here. Now we're getting into, you know, real scenarios. We're getting those Vandals. We're getting those Phantoms. We're getting more Spectres as well. That is what VALORANT is continuing to do because they still kind of want to save that economy. The thing is, with this map change, are they going to look similar or are they going to actually be able to put together more attacking rounds?
Yeah, and already a quick frag from Laser takes away a rifle from Battalion. Of course, you have certain angles, but this spike is going down. PDK has been waiting in wine this entire time, able to get 1 kill on the Void, tosses the grenade on the site, so spike doesn't actually drop. They know PDK is there, though, now. Going to maybe try and for the hard swing, and PDK cleans it up there as well. So there is another 2, forcing it now into the 4v3. And this spike is still not down. Sure, plenty of time, and Laser is able to clean a polar push on 3v3. Now it turns the other way, as VALORANT now have the numbers advantage. 1 person coming up through Heaven, as the heal is coming through from Sky, going to keep himself and his teammates healthy. PDK running on just 20 HP, though. The Green Ninja is able to trade. Now it's going to be PDK, the only one left, and he gets dropped by Laser. 4K for himself, and Spike goes down as well. And such a tough round, really, to lose right there if you are on the side of Battalion.
The difference between Ascent and Bind is that you can't say that Bind is a little bit more defender-sided or attacker-sided. We said all the way back at the beginning that Ascent was probably the quote-unquote best map or the most fair between the sides. So whatever happens in this half, and in both halves, is going to be more indicative of how these two teams are going to be in general. So far, VALORANT has just been clean sweeping Battalion in at least 2 of those rounds. We weren't able to see that first one, unfortunately, but so far, they are really cruising in this one.
Yeah, and Polar is behind here on this Jet, just looking for a pick, looking for something to maybe get a rifle on the backside, but I don't know if they know if she's here or not. Haven't checked that corner. And finally, gonna spot her out. He's able to get 1 trade. So it is a 1-for-1 at the end of the day, and you really can't complain that much, especially since it's just that Sheriff versus 3 members with rifles. But still, you're gonna lose a lot of mid control. It's going to be players basically just roaming around mid, and they might turn around, look for this A, execute retreat.
Flashbang is going wide. It's not going to catch anybody, but that's more than enough information as we see VALORANT's members stacking onto the site. The grenade from Gap isn't going to get anybody. It's not going to deter Garligan from this plant, as now that Gap has been spotted, they have to fall back as Battalion has to fight this with not the best resources available, not the best positioning given to them. And honestly, VALORANT really has that market cornered.
Yeah, and this is such a hard retake, especially when you're just working with the pistols. Laser, the quick headshot as well, is traded onto, as it's 2 kills back and forth from Garligan. And now it's a 3K, looking for the last 4K to his name. And with just another round for VALORANT. Not too much damage done in that economy. It is still VALORANT looking mighty comfortable. Multiple players pretty close to actually maxing out here, especially Laser, that 8,400 credits. But it's forcing another full rifle buy. Nobody over 1,000 creds at the end of the day. And Polar actually going to go for this operator, no shields.
That is an extremely risky play. It's a lot of risk, but there could be a lot of reward at the end of the day. Polar needs to make sure that they have a clean shot at that as well, because they don't have a shield. That really any angle could take them out as best as PK is going to have Fade ability go straight for them. They're actually going to be trading a little bit between the two, as doesn't really do anything at the end of the day. Neither team is going to be pushing forward, especially Valorant, as they're still trying to get some sort of opener to push onto the sites.
Yeah, and we've seen that pretty consistently from Valorant, just trade back and forth, and wow, Polar just spotted out, goes down with that operator as well. So such a big rifle now off the table here for Battalion, as it is going to be Valorant executing onto the A side. It is going to be KO sitting wide this time, so potentially something for a little trickery, but he peeks just a bit too early. The flash goes out, but it does not matter as Garligan cleans him up. And now forced into the 3v5 retake here onto the A side. Will they be able to do anything? Greninja gets the first kill. It is going to be forced, and Dink just gets sprayed through the smoke. He gets dinked himself and forces it into this 3v3. Hard swing out of the smoke. Nothing there. It is one person held, traded back into the 2v2 now, as the Killjoy does come out here from the side of Valorant. They're going to be able to effectively zone off this spike for quite some time. And Greninja knows there's really no reason for the rest of the team to try and peek them, but they do nonetheless. And now it's down to the 1v1. Spike time is running out though, so the round will still be headed over to Valorant. But at the end of the day, a lot of kills traded back and forth.
But at the end of the day, it's still a Valorant victory. And win or not, and I think the lack of a win is very important on Battalion, so they still are lacking in money. Valorant can lose 2 to 3 rounds, and they would still be sitting on easy street because of the amount of rounds that they've been able to rack up. Currently, they have 5 in their pocket. We're almost halfway through the split, and that is probably the closest round that we have had so far. Only one member left alive on both sides. Unfortunately, just not enough time. Polar, a risky peek that they really want to take back. It's just a free kill for Valorant.
And I think he popped the knives as well. Was trying to click some heads, but just doesn't happen. And now the execute on A site sends out the Seekers, going to be able to know moment is down here underneath the site. Hard swing, and with the help of his teammate, Dink is able to get the kill. Now able to just smoke off top. They've got this spike planted. They are more than comfortable in this situation. 3v5 on the retake. You got 3 members still sitting in main. There's no reason for the rest of them to peek. Void with a great off angle here as well on the Heaven.
Valorant just seems like they have Ascent, or at least from the attacking side, they have Ascent absolutely locked down. Gap finds 2 and could get more as they're pushing on to Hell. And this could be Battalion's first round. Gap gets their 3rd, but somebody has to get on that spike. And a great little scatterbot from Killjoy is now as the spike ticks faster and faster. And now with nobody on it, once again, it's Ninja left alive. And yet Valorant takes the round.
Yeah, and it's just been such a struggle for them to try and retake this site. Sure, they're able to get the kills, but it's just too little too late. There's been no real aggression. It's been a stall tactics pretty much from Valorant the entire time. They're able to slow down the attack, whether it's through Omen smokes, Jet smokes, and everything else. The KJ, of course, playing such an important role in slowing down that attacker, or excuse me, defender retake. And it just hasn't worked out for them. Now 6-0 in favor of Valorant, and they're forced pretty much to try and go for this small buy. You got shotguns, everything galore. The rocket fuse is there. It's going to do a little bit of damage. Grenade there as well, trying to get their peaks. They are just hard pushing out of A.
Hey, you got to try something different. When the defaults aren't working, go for something crazy. Unfortunately, Valorant had enough time to react that they could back off. And Moment is going to get one with that Tour de Force, but it isn't going to matter at the end of the day. We're at a 2v4. Moment gets a 2nd kill in this round, but they know that they are being hunted and have to back off very, very quickly, but they still have that ultimate. that if anybody tries to peek them, all it takes is one shot.
One enemy remaining.
Now, into the 1v3 is going to be Polar remaining. He's got the Judge. Laser going to try and run past him. That's not going to work. Does gift over a Vandal. But this Spike is down on B, and you got to remember, Omen is pretty far away right now, so you're stuck into this kind of 1v1 scenario for the time being. You don't have to worry too much about the counter peaks. There's the updraft. Gonna kind of spot him out, and there it is. Void able to just find the shots through the wall. Great wall bang. And now 7-0 for VALORANT, and they are just on a roll here on Ascent.
And wonderful tracking. It's indicative of just how the entire team is doing. You want to try to deduce what Battalion is lacking to kind of gift them these defensive plays, because especially in these latter couple rounds, they have really shown that they can contend with VALORANT. I think last round was a little bit of an exception because Battalion tried something completely different. It did not work. But A-Site is being attacked almost every single time. And Battalion just haven't been able to defend it. They have 0 successful defenses. And VALORANT are continuously rushing for 7. Will they get 8?
Yeah, it's a great start for them. Get the kill onto Moment. Spike already going down. And the smokes are there. It's the grenade from Ninja, but it's just not going to matter. Able to trade a kill back, but still, now forcing into the 4v2, and Jet is nowhere nearby. KO gets taken down, and once again, it's just such an ugly retake. You're just not going to be successful if you're not working with your team, and a lot of these players are just taking off 1v1s that you kind of don't expect. He's going to get caught between 2 players, and Void finds the last kill. Another round here for VALORANT.
8 in a row. Last time, or last map, we were at a 8-4, and it seemed like that was honestly Battalion's best effort, what they could put up on the attacking side. They're on the defense here, Cats, and they still have yet to put up a singular round. Between these two teams, VALORANT has just been looking like the absolute better team. Maybe Bind might have gotten the better of them in certain scenarios, but now Battalion is just going to send the whole squadron, not just a couple people, and it's going to be possibly a mistake, as now we're ending once again at a 3v2 in Battalion on the losing end.
And it's just a bloodbath over there. Everybody's got everybody. Everybody's shooting no matter what. And Void with the cross-map teleport, able to get onto B, gets the spike down, and says, okay, we actually have to play for objectives now. We can't just run at each other. Well, they're going to do that nonetheless. Garligan looking for